let's see. Hold on just one moment. We're going to still have 2 minutes. Just make sure the sound's okay. I have a friend in North Carolina that's following us, so, and another friend that just said that it sounds okay. All right, cool. I think we're okay. We will, we have like a little microphone and some fancy stuff coming in the mail. The goal of this is to keep everybody moving and to keep everybody healthy. You'll see another class tomorrow that's going to go out with myself, and then over the next week we're going to have a live streaming schedule that's going to go out. So you'll see all of the instructors that currently teach here. You'll see teaching either from here if it's safe, or from the safety of their own home. All group classes have been shut down as of this afternoon. So again, you might be seeing Wendy teach from her home or myself teach from my home, but the biggest takeaway is that we're all still together. I think my parents are in Connecticut right now watching this, so I love you guys. So we're going to start just by taking a seat. It can be on your shins or cross-legged, and you can close your eyes and just simply start to breathe. And your breath has an amazing ability to relax your nervous system in times of stress or worry. It also has the ability to bring oxygen to your cells, to bring literal life to your cells and being. So as you breathe in, start to breathe in through your nose. Allow your shoulders to lift into your ears. And then exhale through your mouth and allow your shoulders to fall down. And again, inhaling, shoulders lift. And exhaling, allowing them to be heavy. Take a couple more rounds like this, hands fairly relaxed into your lap. And then the next time that your shoulders lift up, I want you to pause. And as you exhale, draw your shoulder blades together and pull down the back of the ribs. And again, circle the shoulders forward, lift up, squeeze them together and pull down. So as you do this, you want to start to feel a little bit of work or activation in between your shoulder blades. And a sense of openness through the front of your chest and the front of your shoulders. And then just take a couple in reverse. Shoulder blades together, lift them up, allow them to circle forward. As you exhale, just think of exhaling fully through your mouth. And if you get lost on the breath at any point, just know as long as you're breathing, you're doing it correctly. And then find the place that's in the middle. Your shoulder blades aren't all the way forward or all the way squeezed together. And allow your head to tilt to your right. And then reach your left arm out towards the floor, so opening the side of your neck. And you can play around with looking down, opening up more the back of the neck, or maybe looking up slightly, like your cheek was lifting to the sky, opening more of the front of the neck. And wherever you feel the greatest amount of tension, hold in that position. Maybe reaching the arm behind you, opening the chest, spreading the fingers, opening the palm. And then coming back to center, allowing the chin to drop. And then restacking the head. And then just simply tilting your head to the left. Try to keep your spine fairly tall. Notice if there's a difference from side to side. You can reach your right arm out. Maybe look down. Or look up. And find the place where you feel the greatest amount of tension. You can turn your palm to face me, reach the arm behind you, spread the fingers. And continue to breathe. And as you inhale, imagine that you can lift the chest, open the collarbones. And then allow your arm to come down from your head center. Just take a couple head circles. Again, the chest will stay fairly open, the spine will stay fairly tall. Take a couple in the opposite direction. And relax the jaw. And then come to center and we can meet on our back. So knees bent, feet flat. Arms can relax down by your side. And again, just take a moment to settle. So you might let your legs reach out long. You might turn your palms to face up. But just give yourself a moment to take some full deep breaths and allow your skeleton to become heavy. And as your body and your bones become heavy, start to feel your muscles relaxing. And then take one hand over your chest, one hand over your belly. And as you breathe in, start to breathe into the hand over your stomach. And then allow that breath to come up to the hand over the breastbone. And then exhale, the breastbone starts to fall down. And the waistline starts to draw in underneath the belly hands. Take a couple more rounds like that, inhaling. And exhaling. And notice as you breathe in, if your back is wanting to arc, I want you to start to picture the breath moving into the side of your ribs and into the back of the ribs. Check in that your shoulders aren't lifting or tensing as you breathe. And then coming into a pelvic tilt, take your thumbs to the base of your ribs, take your peace fingers to your hip bones. And as you exhale, allow your lower back to flatten towards the floor. So you're going to feel your waistline draw in. And then as you inhale, let your pelvis open towards neutral. And for today, neutral is just going to be where you're not overly arched, you're not overly flat and tucked. It's just somewhere in the middle where you don't feel a lot of tension in your hips or your lower back. And just kind of keep rocking through that, arcing slightly and flattening. Try to relax your glute muscles. So I want you to think that as your back is flattening, your waistline is drawing in, and the front and the back of the hips get to relax. Now again, find a place that's in the center. You might walk your feet just a little bit closer towards you so your knees are at about 90-degree angles. Gently press the palms to the ground, curl your tail, roll through that imprint, one bone at a time. So stretching the hips up to the sky, reaching the knees forward, and pressing the feet down. And then as you exhale, just slowly start to roll back down. Upper spine, middle spine, and lower spine. And eventually opening to neutral at the bottom. So I want you to keep going at your own time and your own pace. At the top, we're trying to align the knees, the hips, and the shoulders. So the Pilates bridge is a little bit more neutral. Right? Try not to be here where the upper back is extended, the ribs are lifted. And it's not that it's wrong, it's just different. So the ribs are heavy, there's a sense of the waistline in. Do a couple more again at your time and your pace. The next time that you come to the top, let's all pause together. So the feet are rooting down. The back of the glutes are on, but they're not gripping. You're not using 100% of your effort. And as the glutes gently turn on, the front of your hips open, and then think of the heels pulling towards your shoulders. So the back of your hamstrings, the back of the thigh gets to turn on as well. Now reach your arms up to the sky, palms face your knees. And as you exhale, start to roll down as you reach your arms overhead. So we're starting to open up the armpit area and the chest area. Pelvis opens to neutral, arms come down by your side. Exhale again, press into the feet, curl the tail, roll back up slowly. And you can feel a little bit of weight behind your arms, so there's a sense of the collarbones opening. Once you get to the top, reach the arms to the sky. As you exhale, start to roll down, reaching the arms overhead. And this time, notice, as the arms go overhead, do the ribs start to flare or pop? Can they stay controlled down? You don't necessarily have to touch the floor. You're only reaching so far back that your ribs don't start to pop. Just one more. Arms come by your side, curling the tail, roll down. Let's stay lifted here. Take your hands on your hips. We're going to try to keep the knees where they are. And as you inhale, you're going to let one hip drop down about halfway to the floor. And then exhale, bring it back up, using the back of the glutes. And then inhale, other hip drops, so there's some rotation in the pelvis. Exhale to lift. At any point, your arms can come back down by your side. And the idea of this is we're trying to get the pelvis to rotate around the thigh bones, and we're trying to encourage some gentle rotation into the spine. Make sure the knees aren't going out. Finish off to your last side. Everything's square. Put some weight into your left foot. And as you exhale, you can lift your right heel or the whole right leg tabletop. And I want you to notice, did anything drop or rotate? So you're using your standing glute, your opposite waistline, to try to keep everything level and lifted. Lower that foot or heel. Exhale, switch legs. So one leg is grounding down as the other leg floats up. Inhale to lower, and exhale to lift. So keep going with this. I'm going to take off my long sleeve shirt because it's getting warm. So again, this can be the full leg lifting tabletop. This can be just a heel lifting up and down. So wherever you feel more stable today, and just remember every day is a little bit different. I want you to finish off to your last side. And then once both of your feet are stable on the ground, I want you to hold. Feel like the front of the ribs aren't lifted or popped, they're drawing down. The glutes are on, so the front of our thighs are stretching, our hips are stretching. And then as you exhale, we're going to roll down again, taking the arms up and overhead. Pelvis opens to neutral, fingers together behind your head. Your elbows are going to lift slightly into your peripheral vision. Drop the chin, curl the head and the chest up. So we want to try to get just off the tips of the shoulder blades, so we're not too high, we're not too low. Inhaling down. Exhale, nod the chin. As you curl up, feel the front of the ribs gliding down. Inhale, lower. Again, checking that your pelvis is fairly neutral. It doesn't have to be overly flat. It doesn't have to be overly hard. And as you curl up, make sure that the head isn't pulling forward out of your hands, but it can truly stay supported. And your breath, as you exhale, your breath is going to help with this. So another function of your exhale is it will help turn on your abdominals. So simply just by breathing, you can work the abdominals. The next time that you curl up, I want you to hold and take your right arm in between the knees, trying not to rotate the upper spine too much. Inhale, hand behind the head, lower. Exhale, curl through center. Left arm is going to stretch forward, so the leverage of your arm reaching might give you a little bit more lift. Inhale, take it down. Again, just checking in that you're not overly working your lower back or your butt. We're getting some movement into the upper spine. One more to the left. And then once you're there, I want you to stay lifted, both hands behind your head. Elbows still wide. As you exhale, you're going to do a small twist to your right. I want you to think of your left armpit trying to touch your right knee. Inhale to center. Exhale, small twist to the left. Now you can stay here, or one arm can reach to the opposite knee. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Checking in that the shoulders aren't lifting into the ears. And your pelvis and legs aren't really moving too much. Just finish off to your last side, wherever that may be, and then take everything down to the ground. Let your arms relax by your side. If your feet got away from you, you might just have to walk them back in a little bit. Curl the tailbone and roll your hips up. So as your hips lift, the back of the legs are still on, but now we've warmed up the front of the abdominals and obliques. So feel that connection that as you exhale, the ribs are gently softening without breaking. On your next breath out, roll down again slowly. And as the pelvis comes to neutral, stretch your left leg out long and flex the foot. So your left heel is pushing into the ground. Float the right leg up to tabletop, knee and hip 90 degrees. Nod the chin, curl the chest up to the tips of the shoulder blades, grab the back of the thigh, and for a moment, you're gonna press your thigh into your hands. So it's the leverage of my leg reaching forward that is starting to lift my chest. My abs don't have to work quite as hard. I want you to keep pressing your left heel downward just off the shoulder blades. On an exhale, hands behind the head slowly, stay lifted. And then just lower the chest and the head back down. We're gonna switch it up just a little. We're gonna curl up. Inhale, grab the back of your thighs. Exhale, lift a little higher. So you can use your arms on the back of the thigh. You can use the leverage of the thigh. Now keep your chest and your head lifted on a breath. Hands to the head, and then the head and the chest are going to lower it down. Just one more like that, nodding the chin, curling, grabbing the thigh, lifting just a little, right? Maybe take a little wiggle to the upper spine. Hands behind the head, try to stay lifted in that transition. Lower the head all the way down. And then grab that right leg, reach it in towards your body. So we're creating some compression in the front of that right hip joint without too much pressure or pain. Open the right arm as you inhale, take that leg across for a gentle twist. Feeling some weight in the back of the right shoulder and the back of the right palm. And we're not forcing the twist, we're just going to take a couple breaths here. And then use the abdominals, bring everything back to center. You might have to wiggle out the hips a little bit. Right? The right leg is long, the left leg is tabletop. Flex your right foot so the heel is reaching into the ground. Arms are forward, we'll nod the chin. Curl the chest up to the tips of the shoulder blades. Grab the back of the thighs. Now again, you can press that leg into the arms a little bit. That's going to give you some leverage. You can use your biceps lightly to help lift you as well. Wherever you are, take a breath in. Exhale, stay lifted as your hands come to the back of the head, and then lower the head and the chest down. This is where we change it just a little. We lift the chest, the ribs are sliding down. We grab the back of the thigh, lift slightly. On your next breath, hands behind the head, staying lifted, and then lowering the chest and the head down. And again, moving. I don't know about you, but it feels really nice to move and to breathe. Right about now. And we just have one more. Lifting. The abs are shaking, grab the thigh. Maybe lifting just a little higher, find a little wiggle through your upper spine. And then last one, on a breath, hands come to the back of the head, and we'll lower down. Draw that left leg in towards your chest without letting the hip hike. Draw that leg over, left arm opens, and just keep your left shoulder and your arm fairly heavy. And as you breathe in, think of breathing into the side of your ribs and creating length from the base of your rib cage to the top of your pelvis. Slowly come back through center. And we're gonna go into roll-up. So if you have a gardening pad, this would work. If you have like a small folded up blanket, this would work. So if you roll up and your legs typically lift, you can place just a little pad underneath the lower spine. Just make sure that your tailbone can still touch the ground. All right, so your legs are long, toes are pointed. The arms are gonna reach overhead, palms face one another. Ribs are heavy, right? So they're not super popped. Inhale, lift the arms, the head, the chest. Pause once your arms are about parallel with the floor. And then on an exhale, slowly start to roll up one vertebra at a time. And then we're gonna do a small stretch forward, shoulders somewhere over the hips. Thighs are still together, shoulders easy out of the ears. Now this time as we roll down, think of the pelvis starting the movement. And if you had trouble coming up on that one, if your legs just couldn't stay down, roll back halfway with me. If you felt okay rolling up, just roll all the way down. If you're doing the halfway, you can stretch forward again. And then again, rolling down halfway. If it feels good to roll down all the way, just continue to roll down one vertebra at a time. Remembering to breathe. And if the breath gets lost, don't worry, just keep breathing. And again, rolling down. Just slowly, softly. Nice. The next time that you stretch forward, let's pause. Right, hands can relax onto your shins. And just fall forward for a moment and just notice what that feels like. You'll probably feel a bit of a stretch in the back of your legs and your spine. And then if you press your hands just actively into your shins, lift up through your waistline slightly so you're not collapsing, but you're still rounded. And then just slowly start to rebuild, lower back, middle back, upper back. Your head comes up last, and then the knees can bend. So a lot of the times the knees bent can be, it can feel really good. For some people, it feels really crampy in their hips or in their arches. If that's the case, just keep your legs long. Otherwise, knees bent, grab your shins and lift tall, but not so tall that you're gripping or forcing anything. As you exhale, curl your tailbone again, and you're just gonna roll back until you're literally hanging off your shins. Right, maintain this kind of C curve or scoop, the waistline's in, everything's gonna come forward, and then you restack the spine and sit tall, using the shoulders. Curling pelvis starts the motion, rolling back, right? Waistline's in, and bringing it forward. Right? So if this feels okay, you want to advance, arms go forward, shoulders soften. Starting from the pelvis, we curl. It's abdominal stability, it's hip flexor stability, spinal mobility. Exhaling forward. Restacking. And as you roll back, it doesn't have to be too far. You're just going to that edge where you start to feel a little shake at the base of your ribs. On the next one, you can grab the back of the thighs to do this, or arms stay forward, we curl, roll down slowly, one bone at a time, arms stretch overhead, and then the arms come back up, not the chin, curl up. So if you get stuck, you can always grab the back of the thighs. Just one more like this. Curling halfway back or all the way back. Arms can stretch overhead. Arms lift, head and chest follow. Using your breath, stretching forward. The last thing we'll do in this series is we'll grab the back of the thighs, sitting tall. You might have to just open and close your knees a couple times. And then we're gonna curl and roll back again. So your lower back is moving, the upper back is just responding to that movement. The shoulders are easy. There's this connection to the base of the ribs and the obliques. As I exhale, I'm gonna bring left arm forward. Inhale, center. Exhale, right arm forward. Inhale, center. So as one arm is reaching forward, I'm trying to resist rotation. So the sides of my waist are still working even though I'm not rotating. If this feels okay, left arm goes forward, right arm goes forward. Left hand behind the thigh, right hand behind the thigh. Just one more like this, testing your stability. And then for the last time, we'll curl, rolling down, arms can be forward. And then just let them reach overhead, lengthen your legs, and for a moment, just completely relax. So your ribs can do whatever feels comfortable at this point. Stretching out from fingertips to toes and wiggling around a little bit. So just feel what it feels like to just kind of disconnect from your abs. And then bring the thighs back together, soften the ribs, lift the arms. And just one last time, arms, head, chest lift, and we slowly start to roll up. From the top, feet together, knees will butterfly open. So you want to find a place where both of your sit bones are pretty heavy to the ground. You don't feel like one is higher than the other. And that's where you can kind of adjust your feet. So as close to your pelvis as it feels comfortable. And then you can open the feet like you were opening a book. And just take a moment to give your feet a little massage. This is not classic Pilates by any means, but it just feels good to kind of rub your feet sometimes. So, and then fold your feet together, lift your heart, relax your shoulders. And then trying to keep your spine fairly tall, can you lean forward a little bit? And hopefully you feel stretch in your inner thighs and your groin. And then on your next breath, hands can come forward. You can just round into this. And then restack sitting tall. Legs are going to reach out. So if you have a pretty thick mat, you might have to walk behind you onto your floor. So your hands have more support. The thicker mats generally aren't as supportive on your wrists. Toes are forward, legs are long. Your hands can turn out to the side or your fingers can turn towards your feet. And we're just going to lean back a little bit and open the chest. So as you breathe in, I want you to imagine that the chest muscles are expanding and opening, the shoulders are expanding and opening. And then just let that all collapse for a moment, so ribs drawing in. And again, inhale, opening the heart, shoulders rolling back. And then rounding. So it's almost kind of like a cat and cow. Find a place in the middle. You're not overly rounded or extended. Right? Leveling up, if your shoulders feel comfortable, start to straighten your arms. Press into your feet. You can lift your hips, kind of like you're going to a bridge, and then take your head to the sky. Lower down slowly. You might have to relax the shoulders again. Check that one foot isn't rolled out or in, toes are pointed. Start to lean back slightly, curl the tail, press the hips up, eyes to the sky. Lower slowly. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on here. It's full body. The back of the thighs are working, the hamstrings, the glutes, the back of your shoulders, and your upper back. And your waistline is still working, right? Your core is in. Last one, we'll lift the hips and hold. So just holding and breathing, making sure the glutes are on, the ribs are heavy. Lower everything down slowly. Flex your feet, and again, take your hands forward. So you might grab your calves, your ankles. If you like grabbing your feet, that's okay too. Just make sure the shoulders don't start to rise up into your ears. And then restack and sit tall. And we're going to come onto your side. It doesn't matter which one at this point. If you have a pillow or something you can use under your head, you can also bend your arm or just reach it out long with the palm up. Your knees are going to be bent forward. Your heels are in line with the back of your sit bones. And the front of the ribs are soft. Top arm can be on your hip or in front of you. So you can do a little cat and cow here. So really letting the chest pop and then really rounding. And I want you to find a place in the middle. Take that top hip and reach it a little bit towards your feet. Flex your top foot and then rotate the top knee up and open without letting your pelvis move. Lower down slowly. And again, top foot flex. I'm rotating my top thigh bone in my hip joint. So I should feel my glute turn on, the back of the pelvis. Now as you do this, avoid your whole pelvis rolling back. So all of that core stability that we've done so far, that's working to keep your posture in a good position so your glutes can work more effectively. And again, on a scale of 1 to 10, are you giving this like a 10 or 12? No, not at all. So maybe think of like a 4 or 5. Just start to allow your joints to move, let your muscles react. And if this doesn't feel good, so if you have any kind of hip dysplasia, there's someone watching that you know who you are, you can always go on to hands and knees and do leg reaches or anything that feels more comfortable. All right, the next time that you come down, I want you to pause. The top leg is going to reach out long. So from your ear, your shoulder, your hip, down to your knee and foot is one long line. The waistline is still in, right? I'm not overly rounded or arcs. And I'm going to try to float my leg up. It's going to feel like a little bit of a different part of your glute. So if you take your hand onto your top hip bone in the front and reach back at a diagonal, you should feel the side of your glute starting to turn on. Now try to relax your foot. And again, it's not a right or a wrong, right? There's a pointed foot, there's a flex. For today, just relax the foot and then see if you can lift the leg a little higher without collapsing the waistline. Lower it down. And again, exhale, lift it up. And in the beginning here, again, you don't want to go for like 10 to 12 out of your full effort. You still want to allow this hip joint to move into abduction. And that varies from person to person. So your body will tell you where you're at. If the hip starts to hike, if the leg starts to rotate out, you've gone too far. And if at any point you need a break, take a break. The next time that you lift up, let's hold. Okay, we're going to try to circle the leg back in space. So the front of the hip opens, bring it down, sweep it a little forward, and bring it back up. And I want you to imagine the circle isn't coming from your foot, but it's coming from where the thigh bone meets the pelvis. And you'll hopefully start to feel some pretty deep side of the hip or gluteal muscles, hip rotator muscles start to kick in. And just checking that this top shoulder isn't lifting too high, checking that your posture is still good. And then the next time you come to center, let's reverse, sweeping back, up, forward, and down. So you want to get that full circular motion around the hip joint. Checking with your breath. Last two. And last one. And come back to center, bend the knees. You can just kind of rub out the side of the hip. Make sure you felt hopefully some work there. And then the bottom hand is going to come behind the head. Top hand meets it. The elbows are coming towards one another. We're going to lift the top arm and just allow your ribs to spiral back. So this is going to be rotation for your upper spine. Your lower back is going to rotate a little bit, but try not to force it. Slowly come back through center. And just a couple more. Again, we're not forcing anything. We're trying to encourage some movement into the upper spine. And back. And then once you've had a couple there, you're going to prop yourself up onto your bottom forearm. And you can have your palm faced up on this, and you want to check that your shoulder isn't hiked up into your ear. You want to drop the shoulder down and lift the base of the ribs. So if you touch underneath the armpit, there's some activation in your lats, your obliques. The forearm's pressing down, the shoulder's rolling open. Now you can stay here or lift the top arm, maybe lift the hips. So if the hips are lifting, the bottom glute and lower waistline are going to start to kick in a little bit more. We can lower down with control. And again, the hips lift, pressing into my forearm, waistline's on, bottom glute's on, maybe lift the top leg. So the knee and the foot get to lift. They lower, the hips follow. One more. And on this last one, stay lifted. Holding for 5, 4, checking the waistline, 3, 2, take it down on 1, and then flip sides. So you can come up, legs to the other side, and we're going to come all the way down for round 2. So again, checking that the heels are in line with the back of the sit bones, the knees are forward, bottom arm long or back. Take a couple cat stretches so we can extend the ribs, Round the ribs, find a place in the middle. Top hip reaches slightly, and then lift the top knee open and lower it down. Flex the top foot for me, and as this knee lifts, you can almost kind of imagine the heel or the foot rolling slightly forward. So we're trying to get that full rolling movement in the hip joint. And in turn, you should feel the back of your glutes starting to kick in. And you might notice one side is really different than the other. That might be something constant. It might change day by day. And again, if this doesn't feel good in your body, you can come onto hands and knees, take a child's pose. You can always just sit this one out. And just a couple more, checking in that our posture hasn't really changed. Last one. And lowering down, that top leg can go out long. So from your foot all the way to your head, you're a nice long line. Right? We're engaged but not gripped. Top hand can come onto the side of the glute area, lift the leg about hip height. Now allow your foot to relax. So just let it relax, but keep your leg long. And then see, maybe lift a couple inches higher and allow that leg to lower. So exhaling to lift. And then make sure that the outer hip, the glutes, are still working even as you lower. You're resisting against gravity. Just a couple more like this. And just every once in a while, check in with your head, your neck, your shoulders. Next time you're up, let's stay lifted. Start to circle back, down, forward, and up. And one side's going to feel different. This side on me, it's already very fatigued. The waistline's in. And we're getting that full motion. There's a forward, there's an up, there's a back, and there's a down. Find your center and reverse, back, up, forward, and down. Notice if you start to speed up the movement as it gets hard. See if you can slow it down, breathe into it. Last one. And then come to center, knees and feet together. You can rub out the side of that hip. And then the bottom hand can come behind the head. Top hand meets it. Top arm is going to lift. And you're just going to allow the ribs to soften and roll back. And your pelvis, for the most part, it's going to stay pretty still. If it feels better, you'll allow it to move a little bit. That's fine. Rotating back to center. And again, top arm lifts. Just allow the ribs and the head to roll and soften. And bring it back. And rise up onto your bottom forearm. You can turn the palm to face up, elbow about under the shoulder. Letting the shoulder lift for a moment, and then if you touch the other waistline, as you push down, feel the ribs lift up a bit. So there's some activation on the side of the waist. And you can stay here or top arm to the sky, option to lift the hips. So the waistline is still in, the bottom glute now is kicking in, lowering the hips down, and again, lifting, maybe add a leg lift at the top, lower. And just one more, lifting. You can lift. Your option to hold. If you're holding, stay here with me for 5, 4, 3, 2, rest. So we can prop ourselves up. You're going to turn to the front edge of your mat. And same thing goes here. If you have a pretty thick mat, it might be more comfortable for you to move your hands on the floor. If you haven't had any water, you can drink some water. So fingers are spread pretty wide, hands over the shoulders, knees under the hips, and then just round the spinal lines. Let the head be pretty heavy, and feel like you're trying to really get some movement in your lower spine, and then start to open the chest. And think of the heart pulling down and slightly forward. So we're trying to find some extension in the upper back, not just the lower back. Find a place in the middle of those extremes. Take the knees a little bit closer together, so about fist distance apart, and then slide your left leg back, flexing the foot, and then you can bring your right leg back to meet it. So coming into a front support or a plank, your knees can always come down, your forearms can always come down. Now, if you're standing up, if you look at your feet, notice if one's rolling out or rolling in, and then shift your weight a little forward and back and find the centers of the balls of the feet. Make sure that the ribs aren't collapsing down, but you're pressing through the hands, especially that outer side. Press the feet heavy, turn on the front of the thighs, lengthen the neck, draw your waistline in, and hold. This is where your breath is really going to help out. And then one leg at a time, we'll come down, and then sit back into a resting pose or child's pose. The knees can open, the head can come to the ground. And take a full breath into the back of the ribs. And then we're going to rise up onto our forearms. You can grab your upper biceps to measure out your elbow distance, and the hands are going to come forward with the palms facing each other or facing up. So the knees are going to narrow, and you want to look down at your knees a bit so your neck stays long. If you look too far forward, you're going to really overly extend your neck. Now the right leg is heavy, the left leg is going to reach out and lift up. All right, so I'm still looking down. My bottom leg is parallel. I'm looking at it so the neck is long, my waistline is in, and the back of my glute should be on. I'm going to lower that leg down, bend it in. Stay on the same side, exhale out and up. Inhale down and in. So being on your forearms is definitely going to be more work for your upper back. If it feels like too much load on your neck, just come up on your hands. And keep your forearms pushing down, your inner elbows tugging in, so your upper back and shoulder blades are wide. And as your leg lifts, picture the front of your hip opening. The next time you lift up, hold. Check that you didn't just sway over to the right, but this right outer glute is still working. Forearms are pushing down, waistline's lifting. And then lower that leg down, and again, take a child's pose. Knees can open, arms can press forward. And then rise back up onto the forearms. Hands can be separated so the back of the shoulder blades are working, knees narrow. The right leg is going to reach out. And before I lift, right, I'm square, energy through the upper back, the glute turns on, the front of the hip opens to lift. If you start to break in your lower back, you've gone too far. Lower and bend, reach, and lift. Lower and bend, reach and lift. So coming down onto the forearms makes it a little bit harder for the lower back to move, which in turn gives us a little bit more of a chance to get the back of the glutes on and the front of the hips open. You check that you're not leaning off to the left, you're not rotating the pelvis. And the next time that you lift, let's pause. Forearms pressing, inner elbows hugging together, waistlines in. Maybe lifting that leg up just a little bit higher. And then lowering down. And then letting the knees open one last time. We push back, child's pose. Walk your arms over to the left. Find a little extra reach through your right arm. And if your shoulder on this one wants to lift a little bit, that's okay. Just find a place where you feel a pretty good stretch. From your armpit all the way down to your hip. And then walk your arms over to the other side, just gently allowing your spine to move. And then bring the arms back to center, rise up to the hands and knees. Again, spreading the fingers, rooting down through the hands so we're not collapsing, we're lifting. We're not overly rounded or neutral. The toes can curl under. We're going to keep the toes here and try to hover the knees just a couple inches off the ground. So your spine is long, right? The shape hasn't changed. Lower the knees down. Exhale, set the arms, set the waistline, lift. And lower. Stay here, or next time you lift, let's pause. The left leg stays still, the right leg reaches back. So now all of a sudden, my bent leg has to still do quite a bit of work. I bring it back, and then I switch. Left leg reaches back, I bring it forward, I switch. And then any option that we've done so far, if this doesn't feel like it's your place today or your thing, that's okay. Keep the waistline drawing in. And once you finish your last side, lower the knees, and then knees can stay together on this, and we'll push back child's pose. So just notice if it feels different in your outer thighs or your lower back. You might get a little bit of a different stretch. And then make your way onto your belly. So the hands can be in front of the shoulders on this. You can have your forehead down on the ground. Or again, if you had a pad or a towel, you can always place your forehead on that pad. Elbows are going to come back in space, and I want you to see how far back can they go before they want to lift. So just find that place, and then feel the front of your shoulders just completely relax forward. Legs shoulder distance, pubic bone heavy, waistline in. So you want to try to find neutral. You're not overly tucked, you're not overly arched. Somewhere in the middle. And then roll the shoulders together and back. Hover the chest up as you breathe in. And you want to feel that the majority of this movement is coming from your upper back. And then take it down slowly. Shoulders spill forward. And the shoulders roll back, heel up. And it's as if your heart was pulling forward or opening it. And the shoulder blades are gently drawing down. One more like this. Shoulders rolling back, chest starts to peel up. So coming to somewhere around the base of the breastbone, and take a breath in. As you exhale, lift your waistline and see if you can lift your left leg. It doesn't have to be very far. Notice if you shifted or rotated, lower it down, and then right leg starts to float up. Now if this starts to grab in your lower back, just come down a little lower or take your head to the floor. But it's the same thing that we did on our forearms. We're going to hip extension, we're opening the front of the hip, we're firing up to the back of the glutes, and we're stabilizing through the rest of the spine. Now, the next time your left leg lifts, hold. If you want to add on, the right arm can reach out and lift without any change to your spine. It comes down, and then right leg lifts, left arm can reach and float, and bring it. So it's a kind of a playoff swing. Just one more, left arm, right leg. Find your center, lower the chest down to the ground. And then push back, child's pose, knees can open again. And you can actively use your hands to help press the hips heavy. Or if you want to go more passive, take the arms behind you, turn the palms to face up. Take a couple of full breaths, letting your back extensors relax for a moment. And then rising back up. So we're going to come up onto the forearms again and start to add in a little bit more rotation. So fingers are spread, knees under hips. And you're going to press down through the hands, and I want you to feel not only the underside of your shoulder blade, but a little bit front of the chest. As I exhale, I'm going to keep my left arm heavy, and I'm going to try to take my right hand to my heart without moving anything else in my body. I bring it down. I'm going to stabilize to that right arm, and then I'm going to try to bring my left hand to my heart. And bring it back down. So checking in that the waistline is in, the spine is long. And we're using our muscles, our core muscles, the front, the back, the side, to help resist movement. So the only thing that's moving is one arm. Now the next time that your right hand is at your heart, you can press through your left arm and open the chest slightly. So your upper spine starts to get a little bit of extension and rotation. Bring it back down, maybe taking that elbow towards the floor. And then just coming up, allowing the movement to come from your spine. And that working arm, that left arm, you're going to feel something going on behind the back of the shoulder blade and your tricep. And find your center. Take a cat stretch. Allow your head to be heavy, let your shoulder blades widen. Open the chest to neutral. Right arm is stable or your opposite arm. Left hand to your chest. I'm going to push into my right arm and add just a little rotation. I'm not forcing it, and then I'm going to allow my elbow and chest to drop. Rotating up, pressing into that standing arm, and bringing it back down. And that arm might bend a little bit as you come down, that's fine. And finding your center after the last one, hands back to the floor, round the spine. Open the chest, and we're going to come to pigeon, right knee to the right hand. Right foot kicks open, left leg reaches back. Now, if pigeon doesn't feel comfortable today on the knee, the hip, or the lower back, come onto your back for figure four stretch, and I can demo that in a moment. So here, if you roll your hips a little bit from side to side, you want to find a place where your pelvis feels pretty centered. And then you might come down onto the forearms and just see how that feels. Some people, it's going to be more comfortable here. This might feel good, or you might rest your head on your hands. So if this feels good, stay here. The figure four stretch, if you wanted something different, still stretching out the outer hip. Right ankle crosses left thigh, you can hug that leg in towards you. So this would be the peel back on that one. So we're going to take just a couple more breaths here, and with every breath in and out, try to let your muscles relax. Try not to resist this too much. And then let's meet back onto the hands and knees, maybe a down dog or up stretch if that feels good. But eventually switching sides. If you're on your back, just switch sides. If we're in full pigeon, left knee to the left hand. And then my left foot can just kind of kick towards my right hand. It does not have to be parallel to the floor by any means. And again, you might rock a little from side to side. And again, we're not forcing this, we're just allowing our breath to create some mobility. So maybe coming down on the forearms. And as you breathe on this one, it doesn't have to be a classic Pilates breath. So you can breathe into your belly, allow your hips and your glute muscles to relax. And then we can rise back up to hands and knees. If you want to take a down dog or up stretch, you can. If you want to take a little cat stretch, you can. But eventually, just come down to a place where we're seated again. So we're coming back to where we started, either cross-legged or on our shins. And then once you're here, just start to settle in. So feeling tall and long through your spine. And as you breathe again, in and out, and it can be a yoga breath or Pilates breath, doesn't matter, but as you breathe, Do you feel different? Has some kind of shift happened? As you inhale, let your shoulders lift up. And exhale, let them fall. And again, inhale to lift. And exhale to relax. One more like this, inhaling to lift. Exhale, relax. And then you'll take your right hand to your left knee. It's going to be opposite for me. And you can take your left arm behind you and just come into a very gentle twist or chest opener. As you breathe in, allow your chest and your heart to lift. And then come back through center, switch the leg if you're sitting in cross-legged position. And then opposite hand reaches to the knee and behind you. Again, we're not forcing anything, we're just creating some movement. And then come back to center. Your hands can rest in your lap. They can be together or they can be at your heart. But take one final breath with me and with everybody else in the world. In through the nose and out through an open mouth. And thank you very much for moving with me. We'll have more live classes coming. So definitely, we don't know how to work all the features on this just yet, but there will be some chat options and question and answer options that we'll be able to kind of turn on after class is over. For now, if you want to email me, dan@studiobluepdx.com. I would love any feedback, or if there's a certain style class you're looking for from any of us here, we are here for you, or here for you. And wherever you are, stay safe, keep breathing, and remember to keep moving.